What's happening, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to your morning show, your 9 a.m. special, your United transfer news, transfer rumours, your goings on at the club, your therapy, your celebration because, international break is gone. We are back. So we've got a little bit to talk about today. Short, sharp, crispy, punchy show. No messing about. Straight into it. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're not new. Remember, as per usual, you can always join the membership club. The link is in the video description below. And also, you can vote for us in the Football Content Awards as well. 3 categories. All the links are in the video description below. So hit that and check it out whilst smashing a like. Fresh off the bat, Owen. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello to you. Yeah.
Hello. Hello, guys.
Yeah. Why? David De Gea, free transfer. Very interested. What we got?
This is quite interesting because we were talking about this the other day, whether or not United will extend or utilise the option to extend the contract of David De Gea until 2024. And it would appear that United might have an option that could possibly suit all parties. Now, David De Gea, of course, is approaching the end of his contract at Manchester United. And although they have the option to trigger that extension, they could allow him to leave for free at the end of the season. Now, outlets based in Italy. I can never pronounce this name.
Yes,
so I'm going to do my best. Yeah. Calcio Mercato. I don't know.
I mean, you did well to say it, but you didn't even try and put the Italian.
I can't really do an Italian accent. Calcio Mercato.
There you go.
Says Juventus. Says Juventus. Would be.
All right.
Would be. Yeah, come on. Would be interested in a deal should he become a free agent at the end of the season. And it might be one of the only ways to get his massive wage off their books. So it could appear that United actually do have an option for David De Gea, not just his contract option, but an exit strategy for the goalkeeper, that being Juve. If they hear those noises, if they hear, actually, you know what? Juventus are interested. If Juventus put an offer on the table, because they'll be able to from January, would that then feed into what we were talking about before, where it's okay, so actually, you know what? We've got an exit strategy here. It's best for all parties. Have a testimonial, wave to the crowd at the end of the season. Hopefully a good season for Manchester United. Does it all sound like it's sort of fitting into place, if that's true?
It sounds like definitely sounds like it. We could be on to something there, and David De Gea could be onto something there. It could be the most amicable way to say goodbye to a player who deserves to have some say over where he goes, who deserves it to not be a circus or a saga. Will he, won't he? He deserves that space, and he deserves that clarity and transparency from the club in negotiations, in discussions, in the lead up to this. Obviously, this is in the Manchester Evening News that we're obviously referring to this article out there in Italy. And look, because the Manchester Evening News have run with it, doesn't mean it's necessary. It has to be true. This isn't, a Laurie Whitwell or a Samuel Luckhurst or a Fabrizio Romano by any imagination or David Ornstein, obviously. But I think it's something that when you hear it at face value, at surface level, you're like, do you know what? That would almost, if we were going to, because I don't want to just assume that Ten Hag's definitely going to get rid of David De Gea. That's what we're kind of gearing up to kind of think by the way we're playing. And it looks like that transition could be made. And if it could be made, this is how it is. So I'm not saying, obviously, David De Gea is definitely going to go, because some people are still quite, not in two minds about David De Gea, but like, listen, give him respect. We don't know yet. Just leave it. Some people actually don't want to entertain this yet. The fact of moving David De Gea on, which is fine. That's completely up to those fans who think that. I mean, for me, I think there needs to be planning here. There needs to be an exit strategy, because the reason why it even needs to be a topic of discussion is because he's coming to the end of his deal anyway. So this has to be a thing. And like you said there, Owen, which is really important, and you take out a month and a bit for the World Cup when we break on November the 13th all the way up until Boxing Day. You take that out because he's not going to go to the World Cup. He's not even in the Spain squad now. He ain't going to go to the World Cup. You come back after that on Boxing Day. It's a couple of days left, a few days left until the January transfer window opens. And teams like Juve or, I don't know, AC Milan or whoever it is, Inter Milan, whoever across the continent, can speak to David De Gea. So we do need to have a plan of what that looks like by January. We need to know where David's head's at. We need to know what his intentions are. We need to know how slowly he wants to take things versus how much clarity he wants over the situation heading into the back end of it. Because one thing about players is, and you can get a saga like Paul Pogba and stuff like that, and contracts run down, and you try and offer them one, and then they reject. But I think with David De Gea, in my opinion, I think he's the sort of player that will just sit down with Eric Ten Hag. I think Eric Ten Hag's the sort of manager that will, again, reciprocate that energy. Where are we at? David, I think, will say, what are you thinking, boss? And I think Eric Ten Hag will be honest and say, next year, I can't guarantee you're going to be number one.
Yeah.
We do want to look at that area. You've been a great servant to the club. I don't know if it'll be as cold-hearted saying you need to leave. I don't think it's like that. But essentially, the message could be along those lines. And I think David is smart enough to look at it and say, okay, very honest, very transparent. Okay, I'll talk to my agents, and then you just go from there. The dialogue needs to be there. So if this is true, I think this is a great starting point. And who am I to tell David De Gea, you should go to Juve, and that's best for your family, that's best for this and that and the other? Only he can decide that. But from face value as a fan and what's best for the club, you're thinking of that saying, well, that could work. If Szczesny left, that's an upgrade. They can have David De Gea. We can get 375 grand off of our wage bill. And like you said, give David De Gea a testimonial no matter what happens and invest in that department.
I think what is interesting about it as well, and I think you're right, that this is, while it's a situation that, won't get fully resolved until the end of the season, it really is a decision that needs to be made, you would say, like in the next 6 weeks or so, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty immediate, isn't it? Because like you said, they need to do it before the end of the year, because that's going to determine whether or not people make offers for him across the continent. And it will be a free transfer. So those offers could come as early as January. The interesting thing, I suppose, from the Juventus side of things is that we don't really, and I suppose De Gea might look at this, we don't really know what's going to be going on with them. They're not in good form at the moment. Allegri, by all accounts, is hanging on to his job. So in an Allegri side, you would argue, okay, it makes sense for him to be in there. They're not exactly going to be playing the ball out from the back that much, all this kind of stuff. But if he goes, and the new manager or the new head coach might not want David De Gea, and suddenly that option might change quite a bit after that. So
that's a really good point. We usually look at things from our side and why it helps us and suits us.
Yeah.
But that's a reason of why this rumor might not be true, or why it's more complex.
Yeah, exactly. Because even though he'll go there, and chances are he's not going to get the same money he's on at Manchester United. He's on pretty astronomical money for a goalkeeper, especially a keeper of his age. So he's not going to get that at Juventus, and he could sign a contract there, and suddenly the next manager he's playing for might be like, I wouldn't have got De Gea. I'd have got someone else, or we need to go in a different direction. Juventus have been signing older players for a really long time, and it helped them in the short term, but in the long term now, it's really started to hurt them. So I don't know. I think, on the face of it, De Gea to Juventus looks like it makes sense. I don't know if we're judging that based on the signings they've done over the past decade. Maybe that they've always got one big free transfer, a big name, and maybe he would fit into that. For United, it's a positive conclusion. And I just really, really hope that, as I mentioned this the other day, I really hope that United handle this one with some respect, some sort of dignity in how we haven't handled these kind of situations in the past, whether you like Paul Pogba or Jesse Lingard or whoever, all of those situations could have and should have been handled so much better. And the parties left United with a bit of taste in their mouth, and the fans didn't really want them there. And it was just
all got a bit messy, didn't it?
It gets a bit messy. Yeah. And sometimes these decisions,
especially with a player who's actually achieved stuff here and been a really good servant.
Exactly. He's been here for over a decade. He has achieved things. He was one of Sir Alex Ferguson's final sort of, this will be a good sign and don't worry about it. And he proved out to be that. And he has earned a testimonial and, all of that. And it would be a shame for him to go out by squabbling over, wages or whatever.
Again, people could say, Flex, you haven't learnt from the transfer window at all, have you? But I might put my neck out online here a little bit. I think they will handle it correctly because of who it is. I mean, if they don't, with this, there's people screaming in the chat now, you've not learned, this club is run very badly, Glazonomics and stuff. You know what? I can't truly put my head on the line, actually. I can't. Now I'm thinking about it, I can't, because There is
There's no
always
proof.
that. There's no proof. Exactly. There's no proof in the pudding. It'll be. I will be one of the loudest in the room if they don't. I will be calling it out as a disgrace if if this turns into a saga. If there's no respect shown to David De Gea. At the same time, I get it. Sentiment. We can't be all on sentiment FC and not be ruthless and kick the team on. I'm not saying that. This is the whole reason I'm entertaining the thought of him even going somewhere else, because I can. If the manager wants to do that and go in a different direction, I've got no problem with that. I'm not stuck in this. He's been our best player for so long, and he won 4 out of 5 Player of the Years and stuff like that. I hold him in high regard for all of the things he's done, 100%. Up to the point of backing him even up to this point to say this season he should absolutely be our number one. Before the season even started, we were like, listen, you can worry about that later. We then saw it was a bigger problem
than we thought. Than we thought. Hold our hands up,
but so did Eric Ten Hag. He saw that too, and he changed and adapted. So everyone's changed and adapted their thinking and emotions towards David De Gea, considering how we started the season, and Ten Hag's adapted the actual style and tactics of the team to get through that. It hasn't been panic stations and get him out, put Dubravka in, try something else. Oh, play Tom. It hasn't been that. It's been we can't do that. He is the number one. We'll go long, play off second balls, and we'll build slowly. And David De Gea will be part of that rebuild at the right time, and that looks like at the end of the season. So I just don't see from this point onwards how he stays, and that makes Manchester United a better team. Like, and also, do you know what I mean? I don't see that.
You have to remember as well that, like we said, it's not as big of a priority and all that kind of stuff. But we did also then sign 5 first-team starters. So the prioritization of the position got higher by proxy of the other positions getting removed. So next summer, it is a priority that we find that goalkeeper, or maybe January. I don't know, because we've replaced other positions. So it feels like it's drawing to a sort of a natural conclusion. And it feels like it does. Even if he wasn't on the last year of his contract, it feels like the right time. The fact that he is on the last year of his contract, it just feels like I said, it's very natural. Like, okay, this is the end. It'll be a bit sad. David De Gea's been around for ages. And he's achieved a lot, and he's been Player of the Year for a long time. But that's football. It evolves, and you have to move on.
Yeah, that's it. And just quickly before we move on to the next topic, when going back to what you said about the natural sort of priorities, I like that, because when you think about this summer, you start saying to yourself, okay, well, we've got Lisandro Martinez and Varane still going. Maguire, there could be an exit there if he continues to not play. So you need another centre half. At Lindelof, I saw a little rumor that he potentially could be on the move as well.
Yeah, to Turkey or something like that.
Yeah, which was a really low key article. wasn't huge, but we'll keep an eye on that. So those players will sort of get a little bit, a bit tired, not really playing. Lindelof's way down there. Harry Maguire's obviously going to be in this situation from now until the end of the season, probably. So you could be looking at a couple of new centre-backs next season. We're going to need that forward. Ronaldo's going to leave. You need that. Benjamin Šeško's goal, by the way. Jesus. Is he the new Haaland?
I don't want to say his name. I don't want to say his name. I learned to say his name over the summer, and he's going to Leipzig, so let's not even get into it.
Oh yeah. That's already sorted that, isn't it? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. But anyway, and Nkunku signed a new deal to stay there. But, there's youngsters out there, Osimhen, those kind of names will probably all come up again in the summer. So you need that. Another midfielder you probably want to say. Fred might, you never know what could Donny probably go or something. So, but other than right back. But keeper is absolutely going to be up there. 100%.
Yeah.
And like you said, because he's coming to the end. So agree with that. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you lot are new. If you would like to join the members club, you can do. Link is in the video description below. And also in the description below are the 3 categories we've been nominated for in the Football Content Awards. It will be sick to get an award in that. Already amazing to be nominated 3 times. In different categories as well. So big up to everyone who helped get us nominated. Now let's try and get that push to get an award, which will be sick for the channel and all of you guys involved watching around the world. What we got next in terms of United back and ready, triple injury boost, not even injury, triple fitness boost, I suppose, because players are starting to come back now. They're trickling and back into Carrington. We saw the Rolls Royce, the Wraith, the Phantom, the Ghost. He's back. We can say at least, because he hasn't made it to the pitch yet to face City.
He's in training. He's in training.
We can say he made it back from France unscathed. Look at this.
Exactly. So the Man United players that have returned from international duty were back yesterday. They were in training. The likes of, as you mentioned, Raphael Varane, Terrell Malacia, Scott McTominay were all pictured in training. I think some of the South American players are due back probably Friday or Thursday. I mean, I saw Brazil played last night. Casemiro got an assist. I don't know if you saw that.
Was as well. Bloody hell. Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, he's doing that. He's doing that.
No, I'm just saying.
You're doing that.
I'm just saying.
You in the community can do that.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying. I didn't realize. I didn't know if he had that in his locker.
Yeah, he doesn't normally do that. He doesn't normally do that. So yeah, you know. Like if Tommy done a pass like that, you'd be like, "Wow, where's that coming from?"
Yeah, you would. You would. Yeah. That's fine.
What? It was an amazing assist. What a goal as well. What a finish.
I know. Unbelievable. But one person that could miss the Manchester derby through the weekend through injury is Harry Maguire, of course. Now, he was seen limping after the game against England. I don't know if you saw Harry Kane's interview where he said, you know, he played like last 10, 15 minutes on one leg. He was proud of him. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of H for getting through that game on one leg. Gareth Southgate said he was possibly injured as well. So Maguire could be set to miss the Manchester derby. That appears to be the only injury concern we have.
Do you know what, Owen? Just quickly on that.
Yes.
Obviously, without saying, I feel like you have to make these disclaimers because it's the internet and people, if you don't state the obvious, sometimes people get a little bit prickly. Obviously, never want a player to be injured.
No.
Of course not. And I hope it's nothing serious. On the flip side, him just being out of it and Ten Hag being able to say, and we don't know this yet, but if he's able to say he's picked up a knock, won't be in the squad, could be the best thing. Just
easy decision.
You know, because win, lose or draw against City, just you're not part of it. Like, look, even if he was on the bench, I know he wouldn't get the scrutiny, but just not traveling, not in the squad, just after everything. I'm not saying it's a very timely injury, but you know, on the flip side, you could see it like that.
Could be a blessing in disguise for everyone involved, really, couldn't it? And,
exactly.
and to be honest, look,
weeks out,
an international break of Manchester United not picking up major injuries, and I'm touching wood here around because again, those South American players aren't back yet. Would be a massive boost for us because historically we always pick up at least one or two, right?
Yeah,
always at least one or two, especially heading into this game. Because I was watching the Flex and KG show last night, and check it out; it's on the channel. And I saw KG saying that we didn't have momentum going into this game or a good rhythm going into this game. I disagree. I think we have pretty good rhythm going into this game. Yeah, we didn't play, obviously, the last couple of games because they were called off. Did City play any of those games? They might have played one, I think.
So I think they played. Yeah, because they played in Europe, didn't they? As well. Did they play in the league?
They played in Europe. I don't know if they played in the league. We'll check that out now. But my point being that, you know, and you kind of brought this up, that whilst obviously we could go to the Etihad at the weekend and get absolutely smashed. You know, I'm not ruling out a collapse whatsoever, but I do think we have to be a bit aware that our record's all right at the Etihad, you know, and we are in a bit of a good moment in terms of that starting 11.
Yeah, played against Wolves, didn't they?
Right, yeah. That starting 11, you know, it's got a bit of chemistry there, and it's got a bit of fight about it as well. I mean, that's a team filled with fight and aggression, which is exactly what you need. So I'm not saying I'm going into the derby confident because that would be a stretch. But out of all the games, the big games we've had this season, your Liverpools, your Arsenals, we're going into those games. I was like, we're gonna lose. I could not see it. I just could not see
Arsenal. I didn't think was going to lose. I thought we'd put in a performance against them. I wasn't like we'll definitely win. But the Liverpool one was like, hands down, there is no way we can win that game. Well, Bruno even said it in that interview.
It's sort of increasing. It's increasing a little bit more. So before the Liverpool game, we were like, no chance. We are not going to win that match. We're going to lose. So we won that one. Going into the Arsenal game, it's like, oh, no, I don't think we'll win, but I'm interested. And this one, it's not saying we're going to win. It's just a case of
we can put up.
We can put up a performance, and that's the confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be great for Ten Hag. Again, fingers crossed to see those guys walk back through the doors at Carrington unscathed, ready to go. And a lot of them having positive times as well. You know,
Yeah.
Varane went away, played one game. I know they lost the second game. He didn't play him, but he's not going to care about that. Played one game, marshaled the defense, played unbelievably well. Didn't get out of second gear. Armband. There you go. There you go. Didn't play the second game.
You nearly call it, there's your goat. Did you nearly
there's
say?
you go. I nearly said that, but that's not for me to say. Dalot plays fantastically well in one game, scores 2 goals on the bench the next game. Not a problem. There you go. I think Lassie, I think he was on the bench for the first game as well.
He ended up coming on and playing or getting moved to centre back at one point as well.
Yeah, next to Van Dijk, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, fairly routine for him. I think Martinez, I'm not sure if he played against Jamaica last night. I didn't see Argentina's starting team. But a friend of mine was out there at the game. I just saw his Instagram story and people just running on the pitch trying to get Messi to sign it back and every it's just mental. It's just mental. So Martinez,
Eriksen.
I don't know if Eriksen, did he played both, didn't he? And played really well. And their manager's like, doesn't matter how old he is, mate. It's just world class. Like,
yeah, and he's like, he's getting better. He's like, he's getting better.
And with Eriksen, and you see, people had this thing of, well, KG was saying it mainly, but a lot of people were saying online, got to be careful because of his thing. And I'm just like, stop talking about that now. Like,
no, I can't be doing with this. It was like,
I don't like it because I'm like, at the end of the day, the guy's come through it all. He's put it behind him. We should do it too. There's all the precautions have been taken. All of the steps are there. Should a tragedy happen, something happen again? And actually, just by his performances and how well he's playing and how consistent he's playing, as in the amount of mileage he's racking up, just leave it. Like, he's running almost the furthest for us and he's played in every single game. He's gone on international duty, hasn't had a break, played 2 games. And you don't worry about that. He will be starting against Manchester City. So he's doing it.
Yeah, I said this in the summer when, go back, because those tweets and that still exist of those people that were like, good signing. You signed a free transfer, a guy with a pacemaker in his chest. Not pacemaker, it's defibrillator. Let's get that right, because people still get that wrong today. And 2, why would you let one of the worst moments of his life, nearly the end of his life, or for a brief second, the end of his life, actually determine, or that's the only thing you talk about when it comes to Christian Eriksen? Why would you let that incident define him? Shouldn't you let the comeback define him? Shouldn't you let his performances now define him? I.e., he was literally he was dead on the pitch for a brief second, and like 18 months later, he's getting player of the months and man of the matches for Manchester United in the Premier League in front of 78,000 people at Old Trafford. If that's not a comeback story, I don't know what is. Surely that should be the definition of him. His manager, his international manager, saying he's getting better. He's better than ever. Don't let what happened to him at the Euros define him. Let what's happening right now define him. And as you mentioned, he's got that equipment in his chest, whatever, but he's running more than any other Manchester United midfielder. Take him out of that side. We can talk about every other player that's playing well. Take Christian Eriksen out of that side. We don't do anything. We've seen it.
Exactly.
He's that important.
It really is that simple. And just quickly looking to last night's game against Jamaica, I'm going to have to speak to Maps about this. I'm going to give him a call because he's played against Messi and Argentina yesterday. I'm going to give him a call, find out what it was like, because he started centre-back for Jamaica. But Lisandro Martinez didn't start, come off the bench, which is good.
Yeah.
And Messi came off the bench. Their team's all right, but Argentina, they're getting back to something. Julian Alvarez started as well. So they can. Di Maria's still there. They can always be, Argentina. But anyway, back to our player. Martinez didn't play the whole game as well, which is good. And obviously he's got a long flight back. So we shall see. But everyone seems to be back and ready. We just await the information about, I think, the big ones, which is Martial and Rashford. I think that's what we need to see. I think Ronaldo took a lot of stick yesterday, didn't play very well. Some journalists were sort of saying it's crazy how he's still starting for Portugal when there's some young players there that can still, that can start and that. Interesting. It sort of felt like a little bit of national gripe of what's going on at Man United, where it's like he's just not affecting the game how he used to, etc., etc. But listen, that's for Portugal to sort out. But the big news is, the big news we're waiting for is the updates on Martial and Rashford. I mean, Martial's had an extra 3 weeks now. He's got to be ready, because I know Ten Hag keeps his cards close to his chest, but he But then he hasn't been in any of these trainings. He hasn't been there.
No, I was going to say he wasn't in any of the pictures that were released
How?
yesterday, and this was my concern at the
So
time.
he ain't going to be ready. Actually,
when he mentioned, oh, it's an Achilles thing. I thought,
yeah,
they're dodgy.
Yeah, they're dodgy.
They can be a while because when he said, oh, he's got a tight Achilles or he's hurt his Achilles, he went, but hopefully, maybe the next match. I thought that's a bit of a push. And then they were like towards the end of September. I mean, I'm speculating here. We haven't seen anything, but I would suspect that they're like, we don't actually know. Like, because
we don't want to put time on it. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is that you don't want to rush him back because if his Achilles goes, that's it for the majority of the season.
Yeah. It's such an important muscle. You know what I mean? Tendon and muscle, because it's like
exactly.
It literally is. How you run it. Plant a flexion, plant your foot, spring out. Like that is what it is. So. Yeah,
I have a feeling he's not going to be available.
Yeah, and I think Rashford as well, because Rashford would be training.
Yeah,
Rashford would have been in there.
But he didn't go in national break. Same with hamstrings, isn't it? You know what I mean? When they go, as soon as nowadays it goes, oh, I've got a tight hamstring. Not even I've pulled it. I've just got a tight hamstring. You go, well, that's him done for a couple of weeks. Easy.
Exactly. Like, and I think that's an issue against Man City. Of course, Ronaldo can score at any moment, but if you're being honest with how we're playing, I don't know how effective he would be against Man City from the start. With how we want to play on the counter attack, we need that pace. If Martial and Rashford are not playing, I don't know if Eric Ten Hag goes with Ronaldo.
I reckon he go like Sancho false 9 and put like Elanga.
Anthony. I wouldn't rule that out.
Shocked. No, I wouldn't be shocked.
He will need that pace. He will need that pace. I don't see it. I honestly don't see it. But we shall see. We shall see. Smash the like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. That's your latest Manchester United news. Remember, you can vote for us at the Football Content Awards. Links in the video description below. And you can join the members club too. Latest episode of the Flex and KG show is already out. And we are now out of the international break. We'll keep updates with injury updates and see what happens in the coming days as players get back to Carrington. We are out of here. Peace.